Major international climate talks are entering their final and critical phase in Brazil, with world leaders trying to finalise a global roadmap to phase out fossil fuels. The host country is proposing a two-stage deal to expedite negotiations, but disagreements persist on finance and emissions cuts. Deutsche Welle correspondent Lars Halter joins us now from Berlin. Lars, g'day. So what's the mood among Germany's delegation in Brazil?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'd say the German delegation is eager to move on with some big decisions. And from what I'm hearing, Brazil's main idea for this conference seems to be having an effect, because Brazil chose to host the World Climate Conference not in Rio or in Sao Paulo or even in the capital there of Brasilia. Now, these places would have certainly had the infrastructure, but Brazil chose to host the summit in the port city of Belém, and that's a gateway to the Amazon rainforest, a place where fishing is a major industry, where fruit is grown and exported, and well, obviously where the Amazon, the Earth's lung, can be experienced. And that is exactly what the German delegation and Germany's Environmental Secretary Carsten Schneider did this past weekend. Actually, he ventured deep into the rainforest and came back shocked. He said he saw destruction at a level he had not been expecting, and that, I guess, was exactly the plan. And apparently Schneider, leading the German delegation, feels that it is more important than ever to really make headway in terms of protecting the climate and the environment.
So what's next on the agenda at the conference, and what's Germany bringing to the table?
Well, the main focus is on cutting down on fossil fuels, getting out of oil, gas and coal, and speeding up the development of renewable energies. Now, Germany is all aboard, of course, has obviously been going in that direction for years and has long established solar and wind as major energy sources at home. However, development of renewables isn't fast enough, and sadly, just last week, the German government even decided to build 8 new gas power plants to generate the energy the country's economy here so desperately needs. But like I said, the commitment is clear. Germany has now promised an additional 60 million euros to help protect people in vulnerable countries, and Germany is so far the biggest donor of such funds, and that is on top of $6 billion the country has generally spent in recent years on financing the fight against climate change.
And what changes would the agreement bring if it's signed?
Well, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, of course, and especially really what makes it into the agreement. In the past, of course, we know that more promises have been made than kept. This is obviously, as I said, supposed to change now. And as we're heading into these last days of the conference, people in attendance are saying that in the past, roadmaps were drawn up, and now it's about really making the changes planned. But one member of the German delegation is representing Greenpeace Germany. He's told us that there are also 1,600 oil, gas and coal lobbyists at the meeting. Now, they're representing an industry making $3 billion a day. That's very powerful companies with very little interest in changing much. Other than that, there are representatives of the poor countries, of countries already threatened by climate change. And there's the industrialized nations trying to undo the damage they've done over decades without risking, of course, their economic future. So it's really unclear what's exactly developing over the next couple of days. And of course, there's also the factor that the US is not represented in that conference at all. So will we see any form of agreement and decisive action? It's certainly still doubtful, but there's always hope, including, like I said, with the German delegation.
Okay, Lars Halter there in Berlin. The ARIA Awards are underway in Sydney tonight. A number of global and local